And yes, there we go. Live. Good morning, beloveds. In the ongoing kitten drama saga, this is not. We found a couple kittens we're interested in. They're about 3 months old. Okay, great. They say, go online, fill out the application. We tried 5 times. Every time we submitted the application, it said, oops, there's some information missing. Go back and try and resubmit. I'm not an idiot. I filled out every bloody line, even lines that I didn't have to fill out. And it still says, oops. And I'm like, and there's nobody to contact on the website. And the worst part about it is when I tried to email from the website, got the same response. So you could submit an online web form if you were having a problem or had a question. And that's gave me the same response. So I found an email that probably goes to nobody, and I emailed that. So, in this whole Lisa's adopting kittens, not happening. Not happening. I know that there's a perfect pair of cats out there for me, but apparently I haven't found them yet, or they haven't found me yet. I don't know what's going on. So I'm not in the best of moods right now. So we're going to do affirmations and denials and treatment today. That's what we're on tap for. Which ironically, reading this will definitely help me feel better. So here we are. All right, beloveds. Let's do the housekeeping and then we'll move on to the essay. And all the housekeeping is simply me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. The website is creativelife.org. The constant contact email, info@creativelife.org. And if you will, and there is a real person who checks that since I just complained about the other one. And checks it fairly regularly. It is, the constant contact email is, you get one email a week that tells you what's going on for the week and the month. Lets you know, the hot links are hot and, it's a blind CC. So nobody else is going to see your email. Nobody's going to get your email from that. So definitely a worthy, venture there. All right, I think that's no. Hang on, social media. We got to talk about the social media because we're doing on the social media. First thing we want you to know is we don't monetize the social media. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So what we ask you to do instead is to go to like, subscribe, or follow the pages, depending on which platform you're on, and then engage with the individual posts, react, comment, and share the posts. So. Bumps us in the algorithms. More people see our stuff. We think we have good tools to share. So there we are. All right. Now, moving back on. We are doing Living the Science of Mind. Now, this book is a collection of essays, all of which, except 2, because apparently 2 came from the estate. They don't tell you which 2, but all of the rest of them came out of the at-home course, which my pet theory of the at-home course, it was in the back of the Science of Mind magazine. You could mail off for it, and you get 1 lesson a week. For 48 weeks. My pet theory is that people had questions. Like they would go to a lecture with Ernest or they would read the text message or the text book, the textbook. I don't know where that went. And so they would hang on. Their words. They would have questions. As people do. And so they would either write Ernest or call Ernest or, show up at a lecture and ask him questions. And he answered them. So, and that became the at-home course. So that's my theory. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. And I have no way. I mean, they might know in the archives because they've got a lot of Ernest papers. I could go back and say, hey, did people write to Ernest with questions? Is that where the at-home course is? So I could test my theory. I just haven't. So, okay. All right. So that is my theory. What am I doing? I need to turn the light on. And I'm going to get my trusty highlighter out because he always has an interesting turn of phrase that's worth remembering. Okay. Affirmations and denials in treatment. There are 2 methods of giving a mental treatment. 2 ways in which one may approach spiritual mind healing in its practical application. These 2 methods are called argumentative and realization. The argumentative method is the one where in a series of mental arguments is used to erase a negative mental conviction. In the method of realization, no argument is used, but a state of consciousness is induced, the result of which is such a harmonious reaction that the physical discord disappears. Let us consider then the use of affirmations and denials in spiritual mind healing. As we have frequently stated, science of mind practice is built on the supposition that the spiritual person is perfect. Nature is perfect. God is perfect. Being is perfect. Spiritual person is a part of spiritual being. Spiritual person is the manifestation of spiritual being. Spiritual person is the consciousness of God as a person. In spiritual mind healing, it is necessary to establish a consciousness of this foundation of truth. The treatment seeks to bring the person back to the principle of their being, to the perfection of being. In doing this, the practitioner meets what we call the argument of negation. It may seem strange to seek I'm just making up words today. I am so sorry. Okay. It may seem strange to speak about the argument of negation, but this idea is rapidly being accepted by many psychologists. Out of years of practical experience, they have learned that the inertia of thought patterns is so great and so difficult to remove from the consciousness of the patient that they sometimes speak of these thought patterns as actually arguing back, refusing to be dislodged. When we speak of the argument of negation, we are speaking of a very real mental activity, and the practitioner must meet this argument of negation by the opposite argument. If the child says 2 times 2 equals 6, the teacher explains to them that 2 times 2 equals 4, never more and never less. There is no emotional strain in delivering this message to the child, but there is the necessity of convincing the child's mind that 2 times 2 really does equal 4, always and under every circumstance. So the practitioner, starting with this principle of perfection, argues that disease is neither person, place, nor thing. It has no law to support it. The condition from which their patient suffers has no location. It has no duration. It has no beginning, no development, and no end. Their argument is as definite in their own thought as though they were explaining that 2 and 2 always makes 4. There never began to be a time when 2 and 2 made 5. 2 and 2 put together never involved a place where they made 6. And no matter how many people believe the contrary or experience the negative result of such a belief, 2 and 2 never made 7. Okay, I'm not sure what negative result you could, well, outside of people thinking you're crazy. Okay, maybe. All right. In the wrong working out of an example, it is the teacher's duty to point out where the mistake arose. This is what the argumentative treatment is. It is the activity of thought establishing not only the correct premise, but an equally correct conclusion. All right. Let's see what he has to say about that because, right? Diagnosis in mental treatment is for the purpose of discovering why the person thinks as they do, upon what the false premise of their thought is based, what belief in opposition of good are they entertaining. Of course, the negative beliefs which they entertain are mostly subjective. As they are subjective, they are not conscious of them. They are operating through them, the person, sorry. To the all-embracing intelligence, the infinite mind, the person is held as being perfect and complete, and 2 and 2 never equals anything but 4 in this intelligence. There is no negation in the mind of this intelligence, and as the practitioner reverses the negation, the wrong argument disappears from the patient's thought. Okay. By the wrong argument, we mean that which attends the wrong argument, which is the negative condition. The practitioner does not feel that they are fighting an adversary or contending with a real opponent. I think that's important to know, that the practitioner does not feel that they are fighting an adversary or contending with a real opponent. It's just a wrong thought, They rearrange the facts which their patient has misarranged. They reverse the mental process by knowing that 2 and 2 make 4. They know the truth about them. Each individual who presents themselves to a practitioner represents an individual problem to be solved or an individual opportunity to be met. The practitioner denies the perfection. Wait, hang on. The practitioner denies that perfection can produce imperfection. That makes sense. Whatever I was about to say did not make sense, which is why I needed to go back and look at it again. Okay. The practitioner denies that perfection can produce imperfection. They declare that their patient is a spiritual idea forever present. They know that health is indestructible, while disease is a negation. They know the belief that 2 and 2 equals 5 never was the truth. Therefore, it does not have to disappear, nor can it reappear. It has no appearance. They know that from the standpoint of the spiritual person, disease never started, lack, want, and limitation never had any beginning, operation, or ending in the spiritual truth. Okay, let's be honest. We are talking hardball metaphysics because we are time bound. We are linear creatures while we are in the material form. We are used to beginning, middles, and ends. And so right here, he's saying, okay, but the condition doesn't have a beginning and end, or, it doesn't have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It doesn't exist. You are experiencing it, but it is not the truth of you. And that's where our minds kind of go, but, yes, you are experiencing it, but it's not what you are. And that's where we have to grab on. Yes, you are experiencing it, but it is not what you are. Okay. Whew. The practitioner handles the experience of negation as though it were only a belief in negation. And this is an important point in mental healing. For unless the practitioner of this science could resolve things into thoughts, they would have no mental method of procedure which would sound reasonable, sane, or scientific. Unless disease originates in consciousness, consciousness cannot change it. Whether we are aware of the fact or not makes no difference. It has nothing to do with the truth of the matter. Okay, but that right there is where we can get into spiritual bypassing. That right there is where we can do one of the ugliest things that happens in New Thought, where we go to a person who is experiencing something and say, oh, well, what did you do to create that condition? Okay, that is one of the ugliest things that happens in New Thought, and that is not what we are talking about here. Okay, so that's not it. So anytime you are working with a situation, that is something you want to be aware of. You don't ever want to think, well, you don't ever want to ask a person having a problem, well, what did you do to create it? And I think that's one of the reasons why we don't focus on the problem. We focus on the solution because we don't want to create a situation where it looks like we are blaming them. We don't want to create a situation where they start blaming themselves. And that it's one of the easiest things to do. And it's one of the things you want to be on guard for. All right. In dealing with negation, the practitioner does not feel that they are separating the negative from the real as though they were two different things. For that would be to fall under the hypnotic suggestion that no is equal to yes, that evil is lord over the kingdom of good, and that the infinite has a rival equal in the power itself. Okay? Kind of important there. The practitioner deals with that which is, not with that which is not. Therefore, when that which is appears in the form of negation, even this negation is part of the activity of that which is. But it is a wrong use of it. And that's the biggest thing. It's like, there's only one power, and most of the time what we are doing is, I hate to say using it wrongly, but, which is what he just said, that we are using it wrongly, but we are doing it because we don't know better. Once we know better, we will do better. This wrong use of that which is implies no negation of that which is, no separation from that which is, and no disunity with that which is. It implies merely a negative use of it. Hence, the practitioner never deals with the negative as though it were a thing of itself. It is but a state of consciousness. In analyzing a case for argument, that is for the affirmation and denial method of procedure in spiritual mind healing, the practitioner starts with this premise. A patient has presented, oh God, how long is this? Ugh. You know what? I think we're going to break this one into two. It's a little longer than I thought it was. Yeah. Because I've already done 3 pages. 1, 2, no. All right. Yeah, we're going to break this one into 2. Because there are still 4 pages to go. All right. In analyzing a case for argument, that is for the affirmation and denial method of procedure in spiritual mind healing, the practitioner starts with this premise. A patient has presented themselves for help. It follows that something is wrong. The argument is that there is a place where this negation is experienced. There was a time when they began to experience this negation. There is a real substance which takes the form of this negation. This substance is separate from mind, spirit, or perfection. Consequently, they are experiencing a negation, and the negation which they are experiencing has a form. This form is seen by others. It is a fact, even though it is not a truth or an external verity. This negation may have taken the form of disease, unhappiness, poverty, domestic infelicity, loneliness, fear, or any other myriad of forms which deny good. This is what the patient presents to the practitioner. Having accepted the premise, how does the practitioner proceed? They begin to deny that anything is wrong. They know that negation is not a person, place, or thing. They know that negation never began, just as 2 and 2 never began to be 5. They know that they know it in the same way, dispassionately, but with absolute certainty. They know that there is no place where negation can be true, nor is there any place where it can be thought to be true. There is no one to support it, no one to believe in it, and no one thought through whom it can operate. It is exactly nothing, as can and is canceled by knowing that it is nothing. It is canceled by knowing that it is nothing. Oh, okay. I've changed my mind. I'm going to finish it. There is no time but the present, and the present is perfect. The practitioner knows that the allness of truth precludes the possibility of any opposite. Then they pay particular attention to their thought in affirming the presence of the desired good. Okay, that's kind of important. So first, we deny that there was anything wrong, and then we pay particular attention to the presence of the good that is desired. Okay? You are not that, but this is what you are. Okay? From this viewpoint, the specific negation is met by the opposite and specific affirmation. The denial is used to clear the consciousness, to sweep it out, as it were, and to make room in thought for the opposite affirmation, which recognizes God as the only presence, power, and person. The practitioner deals with the argument of negation, which appears as wrong things or wrong conditions, by using the opposite argument of truth based upon the reality that God is all there is. The mental argument continues until the mind of the practitioner is satisfied with the evidence they have produced. In this practice, it is evident that the practitioner deals with the negation more as though it were a hypnotic suggestion than as though it were reality. They are conscious that their patient is suffering from this condition, but they were equally conscious that they need not suffer from it. Okay? And that's important. Yes, you are suffering from this condition, but you don't have to. Okay? So we are acknowledging it, because sometimes we get accused of, well, you just live in this, illusion. No. We understand that people are suffering from conditions. What we're saying is you don't have to. Okay. Suppose the patient came to the practitioner and said, I am an elephant. The practitioner would not believe that they were an elephant. They would not believe that they had ever begun to be an elephant or ever developed into an elephant. They would not believe that there was any law compelling him to be an elephant. That is weird. What? That's a strange example. But suppose the patient should tell the practitioner that there was such a law and that the law was inherited, that they had inherited a tendency towards becoming an elephant. What would the practitioner handle? The elephant or the wrong belief in the patient's mind? It is obvious that they would handle the wrong concept. The practitioner knows that their patient is not an elephant. They know that they do not inherit any tendency towards being an elephant, but they do know that they suffer from a wrong conception. They heal them, not from being an elephant, but from the illusion that they are an elephant. All right, Ernest. Now, suppose the patient were to tell the practitioner that they are an elephant because they were born on the 2nd day of July and that the stars control the whole thing. It is a matter of fate. Would the practitioner treat fate or the belief in fate? The answer is self-evident. They would deny that the stars had anything to do with this man's being an elephant or not being an elephant. They would know that the only sign is the sign of God or the sign of perfection. They would deliberately remove the hallucination. They would not try to remove the influence of the planets because they have no influence. This is just the weirdest example I think I've ever read. Okay? But suppose, on reading the history of humanity, they should have discovered that many millions of people have believed at certain times in their lives they must become elephants because of the time of year that they were born in this world. He's now talking about race consciousness, or what I've learned to call collective consensus. Would the practitioner agree to this hypnotic suggestion? Not at all. They would say to themselves, it does not matter how many people believe this person is an elephant, or that because they were born under certain sign they must become an elephant. I know that this is a lie. They are not an elephant, never were, never was. Let us carry the proposition into a more subtle field of argument and suppose that millions of people were to say, we can prove to you that this thing works mathematically. All people born under certain signs have the inclination to become elephants. What would our practitioner do in a case like this? How would they detect this subtle argument of negation? By following this line of argument, I realize that whatever the whole race holds to be true about itself appears to be true, because thought works with creative power and with mathematical precision. But even so, I know that the whole thing is an illusion, even though thought does work with mathematical precision and with creative power. And even though countless millions of people have acted as though they were elephants and believe that they were, they never have been elephants at any time. This line of argument may be used to heal any belief in horoscopes, inherited tendency, prenatal influence, or race suggestion. In other words, it doesn't matter how many people believe it. Doesn't have to be true. All right. The practitioner must never be tempted to believe that the negative condition is a thing of itself or that it ever had a cause. They deny every aspect of belief about it. In the argumentative method, they affirm that a person, being perfect, is not born under race belief and does not suffer from the signs in the heaven. 2 and 2 are always 4, no matter what anyone believes. Their entire argument is affirmation and denial swinging around the central theme of spiritual being and perfection, and that God is all there is, all there ever was, or ever will be. Ooh, my highlighter is dying. I'm using it too much. The practitioner recognizes that we all suffer from race consciousness and that what millions of people have believed in operates to some extent through all of us. But this does not make it so. They must learn that much which appears to be true in experience is not true in principle. That much which appears to be true in experience is not true in principle. Tattoo that on my forehead. And they must reverse the use of thought until the experience is transcended. In doing this, they resolve everything into mind. Planets, people, peanuts, kings, and cabbages. The entire human experience and the latest event in the experience of their patient is theoretically resolved into mind and into thought. Next, they know that the only activity of mind is thought. They know that the activity of their thought destroys the activity of the negative thought, and that what is left is perfect. Hence, the sooner they recognize that what is left is perfect, the sooner their denial becomes an affirmation. Affirmation always follows denial in order that realization may be built up. This realization is the realization of the presence and the perfection of God. The practitioner deals with the mentality alone. Having theoretically resolved the physical universe into a thing of thought, they handle thought. Negative thought is not an evil of itself and is not a law unto itself. It is merely a mistreatment of principle and belongs to no one. Therefore, it must be dealt with as though it were an impersonal thought force operating through someone's belief. Correct mental practice means dealing with this negative thought as though it were a belief and removing it as though it were merely a mistaken conclusion. Woof. It were merely a mistaken conclusion. We have 3 paragraphs left and then I'm done. The practitioner then deals with the negative condition as though it were impoverishment or physical illness. The practitioner then deals with the negative condition, whether it is impoverishment or physical illness, as though it were an objective argument or combination of wrong thoughts. Seeing it in this light, they untangle the wrong thought, leaving the field to that nature which is perfect. They seek to arrive at the realization and recognition of the allness of God, the omnipresence of good. In this entire process, the practitioner deals with nothing but their own thought. Their affirmations, denials, and realization take place at the center of their own consciousness, and they never attempt to project or suggest. They make no attempt whatsoever to concentrate. Their treatment is a moving, conscious, animated thing. This practice would be impossible unless the practitioner could sincerely and truthfully resolve things into thoughts in their own imagination and proceed upon the basis that all manifestation life is a thing of thought in form. They must be thoroughly and sincerely convinced that there is a spiritual person and that this spiritual person is perfect, that the kingdom of heaven is now, and that a statement of truth has actual power. Moreover, they must be certain that as far as they are concerned, the answer is taken out of it, not put into it. Otherwise, they will be trying every form of mental coercion, willpower, suggestion, or concentration. Oh my God, I am done. That was a lot. I probably should have broken it into two, but it didn't. So now we are just going to wrap this up because that was a lot. And we are going to go away and think about it now. So I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day. Take care of business day, a you got this day, a computers are doing their job right day. Yeah, I need that. I want that. I desire that. Enjoy the cooler morning day. Go do some physical activity day, but not between 10 and 2. Stay out of the sun between 10 and 2 day. Drink plenty of water day. Cuddle your fur babies day. You got this day. Make sure you take some time for yourself day. Tell somebody you love them day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, because occasionally it is, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. A brilliant light, a divine spark, a spirit in motion, God in action, a brilliant masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godly. All right? Explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good. And from there, anything is possible. All right, beloveds, Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9:15 tomorrow, because tomorrow is literally a little one-pager, which we need a break after that one, right? So take care of yourself, know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.